What's up, everyone? Five for Politics here, and today we're going to confront a disturbing truth. American citizens who are supposed to be protected by the Constitution have been wrongfully arrested and detained by ICE during immigration raids. These aren't clerical errors. They are systematic failures that violate due process and equal protection and basic American freedoms. Let's look at some of the real people behind the headlines. Peter Sean Brown, an American citizen born in Philadelphia, was arrested in Florida on a minor probation issue. Without verifying his citizenship, the local sheriff's office turned him over to ICE. ICE insisted that Brown was a Jamaican national, even though he had never been to Jamaica, had a Philadelphia birth certificate, and repeatedly told them he was a U.S. citizen. Brown also reported unsafe and unsanitary conditions and was threatened several times while in custody. So what parts of the Constitution were violated in the detention of Peter Sean Brown? Let's start with the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. When Florida officers racially profiled Brown and turned him over to ICE based on his appearance, they violated his rights under the 14th Amendment. And that's not all. Brown's Fourth Amendment rights were also violated. The Fourth Amendment protects him from unreasonable searches and seizures, meaning the government cannot detain, restrain, or arrest a person without lawful justification supported by evidence, which, of course, they had none. Next, we have Alejandro Alex Becerra. Born in Texas, Becerra was stopped during an ICE sweep and immediately treated as a suspect because of his appearance. He showed officers his U.S. birth certificate, social security number, and ID. They detained him anyway. ICE later admitted the error, but admitting an error does not undo constitutional wrongs. Like Brown, Mr. Becerra was arrested only because of his ethnicity, in clear violation of the 14th Amendment. His Fifth Amendment right to due process was also violated when immigration officials ignored his legally valid documents. Next on our list, Hilmar Ramos Gomez, who was born in the United States and also served his country as a U.S. Marine, completing a deployment in Afghanistan. During the first Trump administration, Ramos Gomez experienced a PTSD-related mental health episode in 2018. He was arrested by local police in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The authorities had his U.S. passport on record confirming his citizenship. But ICE ignored that proof. They issued an immigration detainer anyway, claiming, without evidence, that Ramos Gomez was undocumented. ICE attempted to take him into custody for possible deportation, even though he was legally and unquestionably an American citizen. Again, we have Fifth Amendment violations regarding federal due process. ICE, as a federal agency, violated his constitutional rights by ignoring verified proof of citizenship, issuing a detainer without lawful basis, and failing to provide due process before attempting to take custody. We also have a violation of his 14th Amendment rights concerning equal protection and due process at the state level. Local officials violated his rights by treating him differently because of how he looked and his Latino surname. They also failed to honor his documented citizenship. They then collaborated with ICE, despite knowing he was a U.S. citizen. Because Ramos Gomez was in the midst of a PTSD episode, local authorities were also found to have violated the Americans with Disabilities Act by failing to accommodate his medical condition. What we are witnessing is a direct threat to American freedom. Our rights don't disappear because an officer makes an assumption. Our citizenship doesn't vanish because of a database error. And the Constitution does not take a day off. If we want to preserve the integrity of this nation, then we must demand a system that respects truth, protects innocence, and never forgets the government serves the people and not the other way around.